Alright, let's play some Starhawk! Starhawk! Frankly, anything that's the spiritual successor to Warhawk must be amazing. So, oh my god, this is gonna be so awesome. Oh, Starhawk. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, before we can utilize all of the features, we have to do this bullshit, don't we? We have to enter the online pass, which I can understand why gaming companies are putting this in their game, but it just means you can't really borrow games off friends and play them online. You have to pay $15, $20, whatever. But what I found really cool was that the online code for this game means you can download Warhawk the PS1 version, which I thought was pretty cool. This is all sped up about 2,000% as well, because this brand new game, been out a couple of days, and look at this, 400 megabyte download. And now this is sped up to 2,000% speed, so you don't have to wait like I had to for this whole process to end. But look, I would have thought you would have finished the game when you released it. I would have thought that you put it all on the disk, you encode it, you process it, it's fine. Oh wait, no, here's 400 megabytes of extra shit that we forgot about. So what we'll do is you can download that, before you play the game. Now I know it's optional at this point, but it's kind of annoying, to say the least. Oh, there we go, installing again. Oh, and now we have to install the actual game data. Now this took about 12 minutes as well, and this has been sped up 2,000% speed as well. So there you go. That is one ugly looking dude. Okay, and yep, license user agreement, and here we go. And holy shit, these graphics are terrible. They are straight up shit. Look. Straight away, the first thing you notice is visually what the game looks like, and I will say this with absolute confidence that this is probably the worst looking PS3 exclusive ever. Now I know it's going for a cartoony sort of rough around the edges feel, but let's be honest, that's just an excuse saying, yeah, we couldn't render this much shit at this much scale with this much going on and also make it look good. So in that regards, is it a problem that I think that this is the worst looking PS3 exclusive? No, because that does not detract from the gameplay, which I'll get into later. But straight up, this game looks looks like an upscale PS2 game. As my phone goes off. Ugh. Okay. Love it when the real world interacts with commentaries. So fucking annoying! Oh, but yes, as you can see here, this game, the gameplay is fantastic. This game, in terms of a third-person shooter, it shoots really well. The aiming down the sights, the zoom, just the movement, the reload fluidity, it's great. The mechanics of the game work very well. And as you can see on the screen just there, you saw an example of the build mechanic. And this is where Starhawk really starts to become something different, and that in this highly congested age of video games is something that people want. They want something different, and this is this build function. It's sort of like a third-person shooter meets tower defense game. As you can see here, you can set things like walls, garages. You can build bases, watchtowers, launch pads. And this all depends on how much Rift energy you have. Now, Rift energy is basically the central, I guess, plot device in the story in the story's campaign. So, basically, in this world, this made-up world, which is in a galaxy far, far away, apparently. There's this energy called Rift energy, and you don't really know what the deal with it is. They don't really explain it that much to you. And this is where the story is kind of weak. They don't, I think they assume that the audience isn't really going to care if they get an explanation, but me personally, I would have, I like to invest myself into the story. I like to sort of, I want to understand it a bit better, and these guys, they sort of just dump it on you. They're like, yeah, there's this stuff called Rift Energy, and we mine it, and basically Rift Energy can turn people into these monsters, and we fight them, and yeah, that's about it. And that is it, basically, your name is Emmett, that's the main character, and you are fighting a bunch of monsters who get made because of this rift energy, which you don't know where it comes from or why it's there. It's just there, and it's really cool. Oh, and there you can see the drop in. A lot of enemies. They made it so that there's no real teleporting mechanics in this game. Everything just sort of drops in from outer space, which is kind of cool. And again, once you realize how much stuff happens on screen, you got stuff falling out of the sky, things exploding, things transforming and changing, and guns firing, and just the amount of stuff happening on screen, you can understand why graphically this game is quite weak. If this game were to look like Uncharted or something, you'd only be able to fight like 3 enemies at once, because the environments are huge. The environment's absolutely massive, and you don't even notice the graphics or lack thereof, because you're enjoying the gameplay. And I have played, at this point, I've completed the entire campaign, and I will not spoil it for you in case for some reason you really care about the campaign for Starhawk, because I know you do. But it takes about, I played it on normal difficulty, and I passed it the day I got it. It took about, I'm going to say it. Oh, so professional! Oh, professionalism all over my face. Actually, it's more like snot all over my face, but whatever. I passed it the day I got it, and it took maybe 4 to 6 hours, maybe, depending what difficulty you played on. Emmett seems to be able to take a lot of damage before he dies, so yeah, he's pretty tough. There's times when the screen would like, when you take damage, the screen would just go red. It would get redder and redder. I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna die at some point. He's gonna die. Nope, he's still alive. Okay, he can take. Wow, the screen. I pretty much can't see anything. The screen is completely red, and I'm still alive, and that's great. And oh, now he's dead. Okay, it finally took a rocket launcher to the face to kill him. That's cool. Whatever. So, I can live with that. But yeah. I've dabbled a little bit in the multiplayer, and at this point, there will be separate videos focusing on the multiplayer, and my PPR colleague and PPR Minecraft superhero friend, celebrity, whatever, Wet Whistle, he also bought this game. He was actually the one who recommended it. He said, dude, you gotta pick it up. This game, check out this review, and he sent me a link to a review, and it was a review by IGN. Now, IGN and PS3 exclusives do not go well together, and people like to claim that there's some kind of conspiracy going on with them, which is probably not the case, but it is still fun to pretend that is the case. And I saw the score for it, and I was like, 9.0. Wow, 9.0 with a weak storyline. I mean, with IGN, if a game has a weak storyline, then that warrants it being a 7 or a 6.5. But a 9.0, a solid 9.0 for a PS3 exclusive, this has to be too good to be true. And it was at that point that I decided, well, IGN must just not have realized it was a PS3 exclusive. I mean, they just must not have had an Xbox lying around, and they just thought, oh, fuck it, we'll play the PS3 version. It's about time we did a review using a PlayStation. Because they pretty much do all of their multi-platform reviews on an Xbox. And maybe that's because the Xbox outputs at 60 frames a second. Oh, whatever, I'm digressing, whatever. We're not talking about PlayStation and Xbox and IGN. We're talking about this game, Starhawk, and how awesome and fun it is. Fuck the storyline. Fuck the bad graphics. This game is so much fun. And it has co-op, and it has a campaign, and the multiplayer, which I will do a more detailed video on multiplayer. I should be showing you some gameplay of the multiplayer. But pretty much, a lot of people have been saying that the campaign for Starhawk is basically a giant tutorial for multiplayer. And they would be right. I mean, Warhawk didn't even have a single player campaign, I'm pretty sure. It was online only, and it had sort of tutorials, but it seems nice that at this point, Santa Monica Studios have actually decided to put together somewhat of a campaign, just so you can, practice your shooting against enemies that are pretty tough, I guess, when there's enough of them. When you get into multiplayer, there seems to be this trend at the moment that people like to build themselves launch pads using their Rift Energy money or whatever, and spawn themselves a Hawk, which is basically a giant Transformer, Starfighter, walking robot of death mech kind of thing. And they'll spawn a whole bunch of them, and they'll fly over, and they'll just drop down into your spawn zone, and they will just rape you, basically. And the games that I've been in have been quite one-sided. There's been basically either you will dominate the other team or you will be dominated. I've yet to find a game that, you know, goes backwards and forwards. You know, it's always been very much a one-sided game, which is fun if you're the one doing the dominating, but even then it can be a bit tricky because other people, you know, unless you're in a tank or a hawk or you've got a ginormous turret or a rocket launcher, you know, running around with this standard machine gun, you're gonna fail. You're gonna die because the amount of times I've spawned in and I've gone, alright, this is great, I'll run off with my machine gun and I'll turn a corner, there'll be like a tank just, literally an enemy tank just sitting there. Not even, it'll just sit in the middle of the road waiting for people to come around the corner from their spawn point and it'll just shoot you. It'll just one-shot you, which can be kind of frustrating, but the fun with the multiplayer and the fun with this game comes from the chaos. It's from being able to look up in the sky and there will be, you know, 6 people in jets flying around. I should say hawks more likely. There'll be like 6 people in hawks having a dogfight. There'll be people on the ground having a gunfight. There'll be tanks having like shooting at each other. You know, and on the screen here we can see a hawk. That's a hawk right there. That's an enemies. This part in the campaign is actually kind of fun. You get to shoot a whole bunch of dudes down with a rocket launcher from the ground. So you get all these different avenues of warfare going on, and the maps are huge. It's basically, you know, it's basically everything. Well, how can I put this? It's like MAG. You remember MAG? 256 players. It's kind of like that level of chaos, but more vehicles and more explosions. And the beauty of it is that, unlike Battlefield, where you can have battles with aircraft and tanks, and they can sort of be independent of what's going on the ground. In this game, if you're a foot soldier, you can still have an effect on what's going on in the air, because these rocket launchers, like you can see the one that Emmett's using right here, very easily can lock on to the hawks in the sky. And even in multiplayer, the hawks come with flares, and they can dodge. Like you hold the X button and move the left analog stick left or right to barrel roll, or if you pull it forwards or backwards, you can flip directions. So and you're given warnings about when rockets are about to hit you, and it's good. Like, it's very balanced. In that regard, I think it is balanced. Now, it is early days. There may be more patches. Santa Monica might decide to change it a little bit. I certainly think they have to do something about the online matches being very much one-sided. And here we are. Another awesome and kind of doesn't really make sense aspect of Starhawk is the fighting in outer space, where all of a sudden there's gravity everywhere, despite the fact you're in a zero-G environment. So here we can see the Hawk in walk mode, and that's, oh, I love that. I love doing that transformation. It is so fucking awesome. It's so much better than Warhawk. This game is so much better than Warhawk in every way. It's amazing. And yeah, there's some terrible dialogue by some random stock characters. The space combat's really cool. Very similar to Warhawk. You pick up extra weapons and power-ups while you're flying around in outer space. Again, this helps with the balancing issue, because once you take this this aspect online, you have every single Hawk spawning in with the same kind of weapons. You know, no one has an advantage. You know, if you have better skill, you have to be able to fly and dodge your way through all the dangers of the battlefield to get to the better weapons. So you can pick up the torpedoes and the homing missiles. You know, you have to earn your advantage. And that's the thing, like, everyone has the ability to spawn a Hawk, but it's just the ones who have the ability to fly them well, the ones who are going to pick up the better weapons and are going to be able to turn the tide of battle. Many times people pick up the bombs that you can drop from a Hawk, and they'll fly into a spawn zone, and they'll literally launch 4 or 5 bombs straight at the spawn and get a couple of kills. At least that's how I've been killed a few times, which again isn't really that fun. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little look at first impressions of Starhawk. There should be some videos coming out showing more multiplayer online, maybe even some co-op with Wet Whistle. He has expressed interest in doing a little bit of a video with me on this. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I am Stealth Clown, or Bagtog on the PlayStation, and I was Bagtog on the PlayStation because this game is only on the PlayStation. Sorry to disappoint you, IGN. Alright, laters!